From the ashes, the galaxy had moved on. In the grand archives of the Galactic Concordat, humanity was nothing more than a footnote, a curious, volatile species that had burned brightly before being extinguished in what scholars call the Great Collapse. For 3 centuries, the powers that dominated the stars spoke of humans with academic detachment, the way one might discuss an interesting but ultimately failed evolutionary branch. And that concludes our examination of extinct civilizations, Professor Krell-Voss announced, his 4 compound eyes blinking in sequence as he addressed his class of elite xenohistory students. The holographic display behind him showed images of Earth, once vibrant and blue, now a scorched husk orbiting a yellow star in a forgotten corner of the galaxy. The humans were remarkable for their time. Adaptable, ingenious, but ultimately too aggressive for their own survival. A student raised a tentacle. "Professor, is it true they nearly achieved faster-than-light travel before their extinction?" The professor clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Indeed, their theoretical models were surprisingly advanced. Had they survived another decade, they might have joined us among the stars. Instead, they destroyed themselves in what their remaining transmissions called the resource wars. Such a waste. Far across the galaxy, on the edge of charted space, the survey vessel Distant Whisper drifted through an asteroid field rich with rare minerals. Captain Telzar of the Valorian Empire scanned the readings with his third eye, while his primary pair focused on navigational controls. "Curious," he muttered. His science officer, Nin, glanced up from her station. "What is it, Captain?" "These readings don't match our survey data. This asteroid belt shows signs of recent mining activity." Nin flicked her antenna in dismissal. "Pirates, most likely. This sector borders the fringe territories. Pirates don't leave behind isotopic regulation signatures," Telzar countered, his scaled skin shifting to a deeper blue, a sign of intense focus among Valorians. "These are precision cuts with minimal waste, professional work." As the Distant Whisper ventured deeper into the asteroid field, a larger anomaly appeared on their sensors, a hollowed-out space within one of the largest asteroids, artificially maintained and emitting faint energy signatures. "Scan for life forms," Telzar ordered. Nin complied, then froze. "Captain, I'm detecting oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere inside, and biosignatures that don't match any known species in our database." Telzar's scales rippled with alarm. "Open a channel to Imperial Command." Before Nin could comply, the ship's systems flickered, then went dark. Emergency lighting bathed the bridge in crimson. "We've been hit with some kind of electromagnetic pulse," the tactical officer reported. "All weapons and communications offline." Through the viewport, Telzar watched as a small craft emerged from the asteroid, sleek and angular with none of the curved organic designs favored by the known species of the Concordat. It approached with deliberate precision, its hull unmarked except for a simple insignia, a blue sphere with 2 curved lines intersecting it. "That's impossible," Nin whispered. "That's a human emblem." Inside the asteroid base designated Haven, Commander Ilara Chen watched the holographic display of the alien vessel with narrowed eyes. At 43, she had spent her entire life within the network of hidden human outposts scattered across unknown space, born in exile, raised on stories of Earth, and trained to lead what remained of humanity. "Status of the containment field?" she asked, her voice calm despite the gravity of the situation. Lieutenant Ramos checked his console. "Holding stable, Commander. Their ship is completely powered down. And our stealth measures. No signals detected leaving the sector. If they managed to get a message out before we caught them, it would have been incomplete at best." Chen nodded, her short dark hair barely moving as she paced the command center. Around her, 24 officers worked at their stations, each movement efficient, practiced, the result of generations living under constant threat of discovery. "This changes everything," she said finally. "After 300 years of hiding, we've been found." Director Severin, the oldest member of Haven's Leadership Council, stepped forward. His face was deeply lined, his eyes the pale blue of someone who had undergone extensive gene therapy to extend his lifespan. "We should eliminate them," he said flatly. "We can't risk the Valorians learning of our existence." Chen turned to face him. "And when their ship fails to report in? When they send a search party? How many ships do we destroy before they realize something valuable is hidden here?" "The Lazarus Protocol," Severin began. "Is not ready," Chen cut him off. "We need more time." Time had always been humanity's most precious resource since the exodus from Earth. 3 centuries ago, as the resource wars reached their apocalyptic conclusion, a coalition of scientists, military leaders, and visionaries had enacted a desperate plan. While Earth burned, they launched ships carrying fewer than 50,000 humans to hidden outposts throughout uncharted space. Official records were destroyed, transmissions ceased, and humanity officially died, while secretly rebuilding far from the eyes of the galactic powers that had watched Earth's self-destruction with clinical interest. Chen made her decision. Bring their captain aboard. Just the captain. When Captain Telzar regained consciousness, he found himself in a plane room with metallic walls, seated across from a creature he had only seen in historical archives. A human, female, by their dimorphic characteristics, with features that indicated mixed genetic ancestry common among their kind before extinction. "I am Commander Ilara Chen of Haven Outpost," she said in flawless Valorian, their universal translator rendering her words with native fluency. "Your vessel has trespassed in restricted space." Telzar's scales shifted through patterns of shock and disbelief. "Impossible. Humans are extinct. This is some form of deception." Chen smiled without humor. "That's what we wanted everyone to believe. It's easier to rebuild when no one is looking for you. There were verification missions to Earth. Nothing survived the wars." "Correct. Earth is dead. But humanity isn't." Chen leaned forward. "Tell me, Captain, what will your empire do when they discover that humans have been hiding in the shadows for 3 centuries, watching, learning, and preparing?" Telzar's tertiary eye widened. "The Concordat would never allow a species with your history to reestablish itself, especially not now with the power balance so delicate between the major factions. Then we understand each other. We've monitored your galactic politics. 3 major powers on the verge of war, minor species caught in between, ancient treaties barely holding the peace. You've been spying on us," Telzar realized. "We've been surviving," Chen corrected. "We have outposts throughout the galaxy, hidden where no one would think to look. We've become very good at staying invisible." "Until now," Telzar observed. Chen acknowledged this with a nod. "Until now." When Telzar was returned to his ship hours later, his crew discovered him changed. Subdued, thoughtful. He ordered their immediate departure once systems were restored, refusing to explain what he had seen or discussed within the asteroid. Upon returning to Valorian space, Telzar's report reached Emperor Vex Moria within hours. The ancient Valorian, who had personally witnessed the last transmissions from dying Earth 3 centuries prior, sat motionless as he absorbed the news. "Humans," he whispered, his scales darkening to the deep purple of dread. "They didn't destroy themselves. They disappeared." High Admiral Krell, the Emperor's most trusted military advisor, flicked her tail in skepticism. "1 outpost doesn't equal survival as a species. There can't be many of them left." "You don't understand," the Emperor said. "Humans were outnumbered and outgunned when they'd fought the Croaxians during their brief emergence into space. They were primitive by our standards. And yet, they destroyed 3 Croaxian battle cruisers before retreating." "The Croaxians were overconfident," Krell dismissed. "The Croaxians were the most feared warriors in the sector," the Emperor corrected. "And humans defeated them through sheer adaptability and viciousness. Now imagine what they've become after 3 centuries of evolution with their backs against the wall." As news spread through the highest echelons of the Concordat, reactions varied. The Valorians pushed for immediate military action to eliminate the human outpost. The intrusions suggested containment and study. The Zol Collective proposed peaceful contact and potential integration into the Concordat, under strict supervision, of course. None of them realized that their encrypted communications were being intercepted by human listening posts scattered throughout their territories. None of them understood that discovery of one outpost was not an accident, but the first move in a game centuries in the making. Back at Haven, Commander Chen stood before the Leadership Council, her expression grim yet resolute. "The Valorians will attack within the week," she announced. "Our intelligence confirms they're assembling a battle group." Director Severin's aged face remained impassive. "Then it's time to activate the Lazarus Protocol." Chen nodded slowly. "Alert all outposts. 300 years of preparation come down to this moment. We're about to remind the galaxy why humanity was feared." Throughout hidden bases across the stars, humans received the coded signal they had trained for their entire lives. Dormant systems activated, secret weapons powered up, and deep in untraveled space, something vast and ancient stirred, waiting for the call of its creators to bring humanity back from the dead. The Awakening. The Valorian battle fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel with practiced precision. 16 warships arranged in attack formation around their flagship, the Eternal Dominion. Admiral Krell stood on the command deck, her scaled hide gleaming under the battle lights as she surveyed the asteroid field where the human outpost had been discovered. "Life signs?" she inquired. "None detected, Admiral," her tactical officer reported. "The asteroid appears abandoned." Krell's expression darkened. "Scan for residual energy signatures. They can't have evacuated that quickly." Before her crew could comply, a lieutenant at the communications station turned with obvious concern. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from inside the asteroid." On the main view screen, Commander Ilara Chen's face appeared, calm and composed despite the imminent threat of annihilation. "Admiral Krell," she greeted, as if welcoming an expected guest. "Your battle fleet is impressive. 16 ships, over 20,000 troops, enough firepower to reduce this asteroid to dust. You came prepared." Krell's tertiary eye narrowed. "Surrender now, and your people will be treated according to Concordat protocols for endangered species preservation." A small smile played at the corner of Chen's mouth. "That's a generous offer, Admiral, but I'm afraid we must decline. Humanity doesn't do well in captivity." "Then you have chosen extinction," Krell stated flatly. "This time, it will be complete." "Before you open fire," Chen said, her tone unchanged, "you should know that this outpost is merely one of hundreds scattered throughout the galaxy. Destroying us won't eliminate humanity. It will only announce our return." Krell hesitated only briefly, a transparent bluff. "Commence bombardment." The Valorian warships moved into position, weapon systems charging with a blue-white glow that reflected off the surfaces of nearby asteroids. Inside Haven, Commander Chen turned to her crew. "Initiate Protocol Lazarus," she ordered. "All personnel to emergency shelters." Throughout the hidden base, humans rushed to predetermined positions. Children and non-essential personnel descended to the deepest levels, while defense teams manned battle stations. In the command center, Chen placed her palm on a biometric scanner, and a hidden console emerged from the floor. Verification. Chen, Ilara. Commander, Haven Outpost. Authorization. Phoenix Rising. The console illuminated with a soft blue light. Authorization confirmed. Protocol Lazarus initiated. Across the galaxy, in systems both charted and unknown, dormant beacons activated. Within gas giants and hollow moons, inside the coronas of unstable stars, and drifting among debris fields, machines that had slumbered for centuries came online. They were not merely weapons, but an insurance policy, the culmination of 300 years of hidden technological development. On the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, the tactical officer suddenly stiffened. "Admiral, we're detecting energy spikes throughout the asteroid field. Massive power signatures activating." From the seemingly dead rock of the asteroid field, metal surfaces began to shift and separate. What had appeared to be natural formations revealed themselves as disguised hulls and weapons platforms. The entire field was a trap, a massive defensive system waiting to be triggered. Evasive maneuvers, Krell shouted, but it was too late. Concentrated energy beams lanced out from the hidden defenses, striking 3 Valorian warships simultaneously. The vessels didn't explode, they simply went dark, all systems failing at once as exotic particles disrupted their power cores. On the view screen, Chen's expression remained unchanged. "Those ships aren't destroyed, Admiral. We've merely disabled them. Unlike your kind, we don't rush to annihilation." "What is this?" Krell demanded, scales shifting to battle red. "This is 300 years of preparation," Chen answered. "While the galaxy thought us dead, we've been learning, adapting, evolving. Your civilizations have grown complacent in peace. We've been forged in the crucible of near extinction." Across Concordat space, the effects of Lazarus Protocol became apparent. On major worlds, power grids fluctuated as unseen infiltration systems activated. Defense networks experienced unexplained glitches. Communication arrays picked up phantom signals that disappeared before they could be traced. In the hidden chambers of the Galactic Concordat's Central Authority, representatives from the 12 most powerful species in known space gathered in emergency session. "The reports are confirmed," the Intresian delegate announced, his crystalline form pulsing with agitation. "Human design technology has been detected in 37 star systems. They've been among us all along." The Zol representative, a collective consciousness housed in a synthetic body, spoke with multiple voices in harmony. "Our preliminary analysis suggests they could have destroyed us at any time during the past century. Instead, they waited. Observed. Why?" On a distant frontier world called Perimeter, Dr. Maya Santos worked feverishly at her console. As Haven's chief scientist, she had been stationed at this outpost for 5 years, building connections with the local non-Concordat species, those deemed too primitive or unimportant for full membership in galactic society. "The signal is confirmed," she told the gathered representatives of 7 different species. "The Valorians have attacked our primary outpost." Kethvor, leader of the avian Nourish, clicked his beak anxiously. "Then it begins. The great powers will never accept your return." "They don't have a choice," Santos replied. "We're not asking for permission." She activated a holographic display showing the positions of major Concordat fleets, information that should have been impossible for an outsider to access. "For centuries, the Concordat has exploited your worlds, classified your people as developing species to deny you technology and rights." Santos gestured to the display. "They keep you divided and dependent. We offer an alternative." Across the room, Ambassador Liran of the Aquatic Melosians gurgled thoughtfully through his breathing apparatus. "Why would humans help species like ours? Your kind was known for conquest, not charity." "Because we remember what it means to be powerless," Santos answered simply, "and because together we're strong enough to change the balance of power." Back at the asteroid field, Admiral Krell faced an impossible situation. Half her fleet disabled, the rest surrounded by weapons platforms of unknown capability. And now, new contacts appearing on long-range scanners, ships of unfamiliar design approaching from multiple vectors. "We're being hailed," her communications officer reported. It's not just from the human base. We're receiving transmissions from Nourish vessels, Melosian cruisers, even Thraxi war barges." Krell's scales blanched to pale yellow, the Valorian expression of shock. "Impossible. These species have no alliance. Some of them have been enemies for generations." On the view screen, Commander Chen reappeared, now standing in what was clearly a different facility, larger, more advanced than the asteroid base. "What you're witnessing, Admiral, is Protocol Lazarus, humanity's resurrection, not as conquerors, but as liberators. For 3 centuries, we've built relationships with the species your Concordat dismisses and exploits. We've shared technology, medicine, knowledge, given freely, not hoarded. The screen split to show other faces: the avian Keth4, the aquatic ambassador Lyran, representatives of 5 other species considered minor powers in galactic politics. This is the coalition of free worlds, Chen announced. The future of this galaxy. In the halls of the Concordat Central Authority, Emperor Vex Moria received the transmission with growing horror. They've united the peripheral species against us. All this time, we thought they were hiding. They were building an alliance. The Zol Collective analyzed the situation with cold logic. The combined industrial capacity of these minor species exceeds our own, with human technology. They could defeat us. The Emperor finished. In deep space, ancient systems completed their activation sequence. Throughout human history, artificial intelligence had been both humanity's greatest hope and greatest fear. After the resource wars, the survivors had taken that double-edged sword and refined it to unprecedented sharpness. The Nexus Network, a distributed artificial intelligence designed by the last great minds of Earth, finalized its calculations and reached consensus. Throughout human space, fabrication facilities that had worked in silence for centuries revealed their creations. A fleet of vessels unlike anything the Concordat had encountered, built with technologies that had evolved along a completely different path than those of the dominant galactic powers. At Haven's new command center, deep within an artificial moon orbiting a nameless gas giant, Commander Chen addressed the coalition leadership. The Valorian fleet has retreated. The Intresian Conclave is requesting diplomatic channels. The Zol Collective has withdrawn their forces from coalition space. She paused, allowing the magnitude of the moment to sink in. For the first time in 300 years, humanity stands revealed to the galaxy, not as a footnote in history, but as architects of a new future. Director Severin, his ancient eyes bright with unused tears, spoke the words generations of exiled humans had waited to hear. Earth is avenged. Chen shook her head gently. No, Director. Earth is honored, not through vengeance, but through survival and growth. We didn't endure 3 centuries of hiding to simply repeat the mistakes that destroyed our homeworld. On view screens across coalition space, humans who had lived their entire lives in secrecy watched as their ships emerged from hiding places throughout the galaxy, not to conquer, but to protect the alliance they had built in the shadows. Admiral Krell, now a prisoner of war, was brought before Commander Chen. The Valorian scales had settled into a dull gray of resignation. What happens now? She asked. Subjugation. Revenge. Neither, Chen replied. You'll be returned to your people with a message. The age of Concordat dominance is over. The coalition of free worlds claims its place as an equal power in this galaxy. And if we refuse to acknowledge this coalition, Chen's expression remained composed, but her eyes hardened. Then you'll learn why the first rule of human warfare is never leave an enemy behind you. We've spent 3 centuries watching your civilizations, learning your weaknesses, preparing contingencies. We don't want war, Admiral, but we've been ready for one since before you were born. As the Valorian was escorted away, Lieutenant Ramos approached his commander. The Coalition Council is assembled, Commander. They're waiting for humanity's representative. Chen took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history, both past and future, on her shoulders. Tell them I'm on my way. In the Grand Council chamber of the newly declared coalition, representatives of formerly minor powers took their places as equals, and at the head of the table, Commander Ilara Chen, daughter of exiles, leader of the hidden, prepared to guide humanity back into the light. The galaxy had thought humans were forgotten. They were about to discover how wrong they had been.